Today's workshop, in case you forgot, I hope you didn't, but in case you did forget, today's workshop will be about how to build an itch page. If you're submitting for the showcase, it's kind of important because you need to submit an itch page for your game. So the wonderful and amazing Emily Horton, an IGM alum, is going to show you guys how to do it and tell y'all all about why it's important and stuff.
All right. I guess it's my turn to go. All right. So hello, everybody. Like Jabrecia said, my name is Emily Horton. I graduated from RIT's GDD master's program this previous May, so less than a full year ago. And I now work as a designer at Oxide Games. And yeah, life's pretty cool. I'm so excited to get to talk to students again, because life after college is weird. I was going to say anyone here who's experienced that, but I think it's probably just Ben, but he's still here at RIT, so never mind. It's weird, but it's good. So today we're going to talk about itch, which is, for those of you who don't know, you're probably like, what the heck is itch? Maybe some of you have heard of it. But it is essentially a platform for indie game developers to very easily host their game for download, for promotion, and for many other like purposes. It can even serve as like a hub for your community or a hub for your studio. And it's a great tool to you as a student for several reasons. One, I'm actually going to tell you a pro tip that I used my senior year. If you've ever had to, like, let's say you have a class and you have a project and your professor really likes you submitting links, say to a video or to a download or to documentation, well, guess what? You can put all of that on your itch page and then just submit the itch page link, which I have used in times when I was told this document is due at 11:59 p.m., but I haven't finished it yet. So I submit the itch link, and then by the time the professor's going to check it, the itch link is on there. Now, I might have just alerted all of the professors to this sort of trick. However, it worked for me, and it might work for you. Your mileage may vary. But at the very least, it's easier for you and your team to not have to juggle so many links. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to start looking at the platform itself, and then we will get into creating and editing your own page with one of my projects as an example. So hopefully you can all see the screen. I shared the right screen and there's nothing incriminating on it. If there is, or I shared the wrong screen, please say something right away. But yeah, so here you can see basically the homepage for itch. You can see there's all kinds of projects. There's no like one kind of project on here, no like one genre. It is just a space for content creators to create and share their content with as few barriers as possible. In many ways, I would say you could think of itch like Steam, but more for indie devs. In that Steam, in general, there's definitely like a lot of crap on Steam, let's be honest. But in general, itch has a lot less barriers to uploading your projects so that you can get them into the hands of people who want to play it. And so that you can also do other things like promote or collect revenue even. So pretty standard stuff, just scrolling through here, you know, featured. They also have a lot of cool bundles, which I personally love because you can get a lot of like small indie games for a bargain, and they typically go to charity. So definitely want to get in on itch bundles. You can follow different developers. Similar, I think you can do the same thing on Steam. So basically anything you might expect from a games platform. And I'm just kind of scrolling through a bit to show that there's a very, very wide range of the types of games that you will find on itch. So basically, any game project belongs on itch. There is also, I wanted to show, there is an itch launcher as well that you can download and install. So you can also just launch any games in your collection directly from your computer instead of having to go online and do it from like a web browser, download, unzip, all of that. So it's convenient as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at, hang on just a second. Okay, I was just trying to see the chat, but I can't find it. But oh wait, there it is. I always thought of it as the game YouTube. That is a pretty apt description. I think that's a good way of putting it. Let me go ahead and show you, let's see. So I have this account for one of my former groups in, gosh, I guess that was in 601. And so you can create basically a studio page, so to speak. Plush Bunch, we didn't really do a whole lot with our profile here, but you are able to create this whole landing page. So if you have like a team that is going to continue making projects, you can actually collect all of your projects here. Or, pro tip for yourself, this is a great spot to keep all of your games so you can quickly link to, hey, here's what I've done. For example, if you had a portfolio site where you typically just show a few screenshots and the highlights, you can have a link that anyone looking at it can quickly go and see anything you've done. Again, the description, YouTube, but for games, I think it's a pretty apt description. So let's take a look at what we have here, or what we used for boiling over. And I believe we used this for our showcase submission, in fact. And we did win one of the categories. So here's a good example, apparently. So pretty typical stuff. I don't think there's going to be anything too surprising here. A nice big banner, a big description, screenshots. And down here, I want to kind of show some of the other features you can get. You are also able to sell your game on itch, including letting players or potential players name their own price. You can also upload different versions. So if you have, let's say, a version that's like a full demo and ready to go to everyone, you can make that public. Say you are working on like another version, let's say, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a specific use case. But if you had a download link that you only wanted, say, a professor or like a teammate to be able to download, you can easily have it password protected as well. And you can very easily keep a version history. And then you're also able to use your page as a sort of social hub. So these days, I feel like everyone has a Discord server for everything. And you might decide to make a Discord server for your game. You might also decide to make an itch, but really itch can serve as like an all-in-one, because you not only have a comment section where people can interact, but you can also set this to be more of a forums style, just more of like a forums where people can actually like create topics, respond to them, and basically make it a centralized hub for communication between you and your players and between players in the community. You might do all that and still make a Discord anyway, but it really can serve as a one solution for all of your problems, which is why one of the reasons why it's so good for things like submitting to the showcase. So I kind of want to let me see if I can go and edit this. Actually, no, before we do that, I'm also going to show the dashboard. So itch also comes with all these really cool tools to help you as a developer, that you don't have to like pay for any of this hosting or any of these metrics. So you can, like, if you have multiple projects or even just one, you can get all this information immediately right away. Page views, downloads, as well as purchases. And then, like I said, if you have like a bunch of projects, you can all manage them right here in the dashboard. You know, and there's all these tools for editing posts, looking over, oh, I don't know if I should open the payments, might have people's personal info. Okay, it's not really that personal, like payment info if you're selling your games. And apparently, and I learned this just today, apparently you can actually post jobs on itch, because itch is fairly developer heavy. It's such a good tool that it ends up for developers that it ends up having a little more developers than it does people just here to play games. But that said, a lot of indie devs do love playing other indie games, so you would find an audience here. But yeah, apparently you can post jobs here. So I guess this is another source for anyone who's looking for a job right now. I honestly couldn't speak to the quality of the jobs posted here, but it is an option now. So let's go ahead and take a look. Honestly, creating the page itself, I think, is very straightforward. You don't have to learn HTML, CSS, or anything. You can start to learn, like, I mean, you can if you want, but you really don't have to. There's just a very simple template here for you to fill out. And it's genuinely as easy, like, it's as easy as filling in boxes and checking other boxes. Where the difficulty comes in, I would say, is more the content. So sure, title, maybe you've got a title, project URL, like all this stuff is really simple, very easy to pick out what you want to do, what kind of project it is, if it's in development, easy stuff. Pricing is kind of what, kind of up to you and your team. If you're submitting to the showcase, you probably aren't gonna demand payment for any of the judges willing to, or who are going to be playing the game. But this is another option, or another like instance where maybe you have a free version. Like if you have a game you want to sell and you want to monetize, maybe you have a free version that you can, password protect and let, the fine folks running the showcase download and play for free. But meanwhile, everyone else is still, purchasing it. Or you can go the donate option, which is actually pretty cool. And I think it is unique to itch. At least I haven't seen it on Steam. So you can, like, we have a suggested donation, and people really don't have to pay that. People can pay whatever they want if they just want to basically tip us, or they can just download the game for free. They don't have to pay us. And it's a great way to get like a little bit of support for you and your team, while still letting people, because that's kind of what our team decided, was that we wanted people to be able to play our game and experience the content of it without having to pay. But we knew that there were people who really wanted to support us, so that was the best option for us. Now, the fun part is this really big, long description here. This is sort of your spot to put all of the meat about what your game is. I would highly recommend, basically, and you've seen this on Steam, I'm sure all of you have, the video just right there at the top for the showcase. You can even see right here, this video that's on here is from the showcase submission. So right at the top, they click one button, they don't have to read, they get a good look at what your game is, what makes it so special. And it's basically your sales pitch, either for someone to download it or for Ben to give you an award at the showcase. And again, it's just a very simple text editor. You don't need to know CSS. You don't even need to know Markdown. It's as simple as typing, highlighting, and pressing a button. It's such a good tool just for that reason. I kind of go over a little bit of like the content of it. I think that a lot of time gets spent like in games discussing like how to market and how to like format this type of, page that players are going to be looking at to like buy or like consider buying your game. what I would ask as a team, or what I would like suggest that I found to be pretty successful, and what is kind of the standard from like a lot of other developers that I've seen, is to try and keep the text not a massive wall, and try and find the bullet points and tell the story of the experience that you are selling. So in this case, we kind of asked like, what is this game? And then we give like our elevator pitch. We introduce our characters because this game, Boiling Over, is all about the characters and all about their interactions. So we decided that that was what we wanted to show right away. We wanted to show the main characters. We wanted to show a lot of the side characters that you would be seeing in the game. And we're basically trying to sell like what the experience is in these words. Now, honestly, a lot of people are probably just going to watch the video, but if you're submitting this to something like the showcase, or if your audience might be nerds like me who actually kind of read before watching the video because we get tired of all the, because we're old and we get tired of all the flashy stuff in our face, the description is going to be very important, like equally as important to the video. Now we do kind of become like this big, and looking back at this, I haven't touched this in a while, to be totally honest with you. I would even critique it as in, I would kind of want like maybe some more inline images here to make it a little more engaging. Because images, really communicate what your game is at a glance. We do have these screenshots, but kind of getting this annotated like feature description with some images, feature description, some more images. I think it tends to be a lot more engaging than just a giant wall of text. And many of you probably agree. It's also a great place to drop your socials if you want. So we drop our Twitch, or our Twitch. We don't have a Twitch, our Twitter, and a link to our Discord server as well. And if you're really big on socials, maybe stick it at the top, or at the top of the description, up to you. That's actually a critique I would almost give myself. Like, I almost want to like make this a smaller Discord icon, get like the Twitter icon and stick them up here or up at the top, maybe in both spots. I don't know. Excuse me. I'm technically not a website designer. And then at the end here, we have some more settings, stuff you've probably seen anywhere else on the internet. Tags to help promote, genre, download and install instructions. This is really more if you've got like some weird experimental thing, and then your settings for community, which again, we've just kind of got comments here. You can disable it if you don't want anyone talking about your game. That's also allowed. Then visibility settings, again, very similar to like what YouTube does. Whether it's restricted, so you add people, a draft, so it's just you and your team, or public, so that anyone in the world can look at it and post mean things. But that's more or less like all there is to it. In terms of like creating this content, it's really not complicated. It's a very straightforward tool. There are a few other neat things here. Like I personally like the devlog. It's a great spot to anyone who's followed the game or has downloaded it. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let me pull that up. Wait, do I have the? There we go. I just want to not send you the edit link because it'll be like, you can't edit this. Here, I'll drop that in the URL if anyone wants to take a look at it. But this is also very simple. If you want, you can go crazy with editing the theme. Actually, here is the theme editor. I was like, wait, where is it in here? I don't know why, but they have it in like two separate spots. I think because you're sort of like looking at the game or the page and like how it should appear to like, someone on the outside. So you can just kind of edit it right here, right now. But yeah, so you can just kind of follow the existing template, the existing theme, and fill it in with like your own banner image, your own background image. Mess with the settings on this and like where you want like the screenshots, stuff like that. It's all pretty straightforward, which is why it's such a good tool. Again, I said this before, but it's like why it's such a good tool, because I know you all are students and you want to focus on, I mean, everyone wants to just focus on making the game. Maybe a few of you might like web design, but in most of my experiences, I had other game devs on my team who didn't actually want to do web design. We just wanted to make the game. So this will make it a lot simpler for any submission really, or any project that you want to actually have presence and that you want to actually like share with others. I'm trying to think if there's any other features that I need to cover. Analytics, formatting. I guess I can talk a little bit about content, but you've probably heard, or a little bit more about content, but you've probably heard some of this advice already. So more or less, you really want to take the time and effort. And I know that it's easy to just think, I was just up until like 11 p.m. finishing, like fixing some bugs in this game. I just want to be done with it. That said, you should really put a lot of thought into how you present the game and how you share its content at a glance. So I would actually take the time to like consider in your game, like what are the moments that you want to like show to somebody? Because remember, you're selling, I've talked about this a little bit, I touched on it, you are selling the experience. You don't want to just have your page just be like a bullet point list of features. You want to like sell like who the player is, what the player is doing, what types of things does this game enable, which is why we start with placing the player, like in our case, because it's so character driven, placing the player in the character's shoes and going through what she has to decide and then what the player decides. And then we also depict that, you know, kind of showing, hey, it's a visual, we got a lot of visual novel elements. Then we have this ordering system, or this system of crafting and creating drinks for customers and like managing a coffee shop. We have a daily schedule. So see, we're kind of highlighting all of the features individually so that the player can kind of see like, this is what if I download this game, what can I expect? And we've got our mini games for creating drinks. We kind of show a couple of them just to kind of show that there's a variety of mini games and not just one thing that you're doing all the time. Now, if your game were more action-based or, you know, much heavier, because like this is more a story and like character-focused game. If you had a mechanic-focused game, like a platformer or something that's more action-packed, you're really going to want to show that in these screenshots, like show the really cool moments. Again, I'm pretty sure you've probably heard this before, but it is so important and so easy to try and ignore, like think it's not important. I would even say like, if you want to get really fancy, I have seen some pages make like little GIFs of like character animations and whatnot. Like you already, like if you have like a 2D platform and you've animated characters, you already have those animations. It's just a matter of converting it into a GIF, putting it like embed it into your description, and suddenly you have something that's really eye-catching and you didn't even have to like create new content for that. You're just using the existing content to promote the product. Yeah, so here we just kind of show like some of the variety, because one of the selling points, I say selling points like, you know, business and whatnot. It doesn't mean that like, it doesn't mean that you necessarily are trying to sell your game in that like business perspective, but it's more like, why should someone spend their time playing your game? You know, you and your team probably have a really good feeling of what makes your game special and why it's different than other games. But that is what you want to communicate to the world, because they don't know unless you show them. So we wanted to show that like there was a big variety of characters and situations that you would be in. And we also wanted to show like this comment here from Cyrus saying, you should watch me stream Super Mario Sisters. We kind of wanted to get an idea of like the kind of humor and the kind of writing that a player could expect. Again, selling the experience, selling them what they want. Let me see here. I think that's Oh, we kind of like showed like, you know, you can get stats and whatnot, but that's basically the gist of it. There is a comment in the chat. Maybe you want to add disclaimers for age restrictions or warnings for visuals. Oh, okay. So content, in terms of like disclaimers, we only put, so our game isn't super intense, but we did add this content warning for transphobia and misgendering. And though different people have different like opinions on content warnings or like, you know, that type of thing, I will say that what you are doing as a developer is you are, again, telling the player what the experience is and what they're going to play. We wanted to be very mindful of this because a lot of players who might want to play a game that has like a lot of queer characters in it might really want to avoid you know, things like homophobia or queerphobia. So we make it very clear that a player is not like, this is something you are going to, that you might witness if you download this, because we don't want our game to do any harm, essentially. And we want a potential person who would enjoy this to also know that we have the ability in our game, like we program the ability to like pick whether or not you'd see like censored dialogue scenes or not. So that like a potential player could decide, well, I don't want to see this content, but I'm going to be able to like censor it. So now I will buy it instead of avoiding it altogether. In terms of how restrictive itch is, from what I have seen, you do need to, like, if you are posting a game that is like explicit, and I do mean explicit, like, you know, very, very inappropriate NSFW stuff, you do need to, I'm not sure where you check this on your project. I'll see if I can find it, but you do need to state or show that it's explicit. Let's see if, edit game. Let's see if there's actually a spot for this, because if there is, I'm actually not 100% sure. That said, itch really isn't that restrictive. I don't know if any of you saw when I was on the homepage, there were definitely lots of swearing and lots of NSFW topics. I believe that I turned off content filtering, so that just might be a me thing. Yeah, I'm actually not seeing where it is on here. I feel like at one point we did have to like, maybe it's in here, no. All right, so I'm honestly not 100% sure. In terms of like general, like if it's more just like aesthetics or like, hey, there's like some violent scenes in here, I would say at a minimum you do want to like mention that on the page. However, itch is not super restrictive. That is like one of the benefits from like the student or like creative standpoint. Potentially some people might want to be in a more moderated environment. But unless you're posting a pornography game with, and like it's not like labeled in any way to indicate that it's a pornography game, you're probably not going to get yanked from this store, because generally itch is like almost anything goes. So you won't have to worry about that, but as a responsible developer, I would recommend just if there's anything like the flashing lights or it's really violent and gory, make that clear so that players know what they're getting themselves into, or so that they can make the decision to say, nah, not for me. That said, I mean, I don't know. This is apparently for submitting to the, you know, this is for submitting to the student showcase. If you, like, there's nothing wrong with creativity in that direction, but I don't know, might be a tough crowd to please if you're going like full on gory or anything like very inappropriate. But at the end of the day, as much as we love creativity, RIT is like an institution for higher learning. So they probably have more restrictions than itch does. Honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else specific to dive into in terms of creating a page so that you can submit it. Again, I really enjoy this platform, and it's a great way to sort of centralize everything for your game, get kind of this all-in-one solution for community management, distributing the game, and for professors or like assignments, having one link that you can say, yeah, the build's on this link, videos on this link, docs are on this link. That said, and again, disclaimer, if your professor has a designated, like, this is how I want you to submit documents, you can't just say, well, Emily said I could use the itch page. No. But there were, sorry, I kind of tend to click around sometimes. But there definitely were a lot of cases where just submitting the itch link for every deliverable made my life easier and made our team's life easier. I guess there are a couple of other things I wanted to point out before moving away from itch. You're also able to join game jams on itch. There's also, I think this is kind of, okay, so there's also like a general itch community, so they have their own like forums. So it's a great place to network and meet other developers. I've also seen they've recently started a Discord server. So itch is now adding to the Discord server problem. But you don't have to. There's technically an itch community right here. So you can bypass an additional Discord server. I'm gonna just also highlight two other resources that I found immensely useful, honestly, for many classes and game development in general, as well as useful for building a page or any sort of, presentation of your game. The first one I'll go to is Canva. You might already have something like Photoshop or not Photoshop, like PowerPoint or Google Slides. But this is like a really great like graphic editing tool for creating posters, creating like backgrounds to like just stick in, like our itch page. Let me go back to it. Like this banner we actually created using Canva, because they have like a lot of stock graphics and like a really easy to use layering tool for like importing your own images, layering, rotating, just all the stuff you'd expect from an image editor, but very robust and easy to use. Along with like like I said, some assets that we didn't have that we could use to enhance like the graphic. Excuse me, drinking a lot of soda. So I would recommend taking a look at this if you and your team don't already have a good solution for. I think we also made like cell sheets using this because it's just super easy to get graphics and like arrange them. But if you're using Google Sheets, Google Slides, and you're happy, feel free to stick with that. If you're not happy, definitely check out Canva. I'll drop the link. It's very easy to remember, but I will drop the link. And now this tool this site I am in love with. So this is gameicons.net. And this is a big repository of icons that are all vectors. And so they're scalable to any size. They're all completely free. They all are, I believe, CC0. I'm trying to see like where it mentions that. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so they're not CC0. CC0 is basically you can use it without giving any credit whatsoever. This does require that you can freely use them in projects as long as you credit the authors. But otherwise, these are all icons completely free. So if you're like, oh man, we have money in the game, you can just type in money and get like a ton of different icons right away. And in addition to finding these icons, which again, they're just free to use for any reason in any context, it also has a really awesome in-browser editor that's like, honestly, I was just blown away originally by how robust it is. So if you like ever find yourself needing like an icon for a menu or like, something for a presentation, this is like the place to go, in my opinion. I used it a lot when I was in, honestly, I think I used it in literally every project after I learned this, but it was especially helpful in board game development because there's all kinds of icons and graphics that you need on cards. You can very easily like just change like shapes, colors, and it's pretty cool. You can even add a gradient to it. And you can download as an SVG, which is a oh, you can even add a pattern. I'm getting distracted by it because there's just so many things to click on. You can even add, so you can download it as an SVG, which is basically graphics or vector graphics or a PNG, either way. Hang on a second. Oh, a frame. I haven't actually used this tool recently because I really don't do any graphics related stuff at my current job. So, okay, there we go. So you just pick what you want to edit. I was editing the background. So if I want gold coins, there we go. And I want, I don't know, gradient. None. Oh, just no background. But yeah, so let's just, oh, that's nifty. There we go. So like say I'm making some medieval RPG, fantasy RPG game, and I'm like, there we go, there's my coins icon. You can very easily find other icons too. It just kind of like has this discovery almost with the tag of money. So like you can seriously find like so much just by typing in a single word. So I'm gonna drop this in chat as well. So if you're a team that, now obviously you're not going to get you're really not going to get like animations or stuff like that on here, so it's not it's by no means a replacement for an artist, but it is an excellent way to, like, if you're rapidly prototyping and you're just like, man, I need the skateboard icon, like I just need a picture of a guy on a skateboard, or like, man, I need an image for a monster. You can just find it, customize it, and bam, you have an image in your game to represent something instead of, the plain blue background, blue Unity background with like white text everywhere. So yeah, highly recommend for all purposes and in developing the game and presenting the game. That's it. I could try and ramble for another 20 minutes, but I think this about covers what I think all the highlights of itch are, and a couple of bonus tools for you. Let me go ahead and there we go. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here and like listening. I really hope this was useful. Again, it is really not difficult. And in fact, I think you'll find that a platform like Itch is going to make your life easier, both for the showcase and any game submission. So if anyone has any questions about Itch, about the student showcase, or anything, I'm here. I was planning to be here until 6, so. And if not, that's fine. We can sit in silence or you can go about your day. I don't care.
Hi, Emily. I have added a question in the chat just before the 2 messages you sent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
Do you know any guidelines? Third-party asset use. Yeah. So, the short answer is that you aren't going to have something pulled from a platform like Itch or technically like YouTube, like any of these platforms, unless the person who owns the rights to, you know, whatever you're using complains. There's very little, like, I don't know if you how much you saw from like looking through there, but there was literally like people posting like Pokemon sprites, Pokemon assets in their games. Nintendo could very easily go to itch, file a cease and desist, and demand that gets removed from the platform. But itch is not super restrictive. Now, academically, you always need to cite your sources, always. So you should, if you are using third-party assets, you should be referencing that somewhere in your credits or in your documentation. Is there a standard? The standard is typically going to be based on what an individual artist or platform has like stated. So if they did CC0, like someone who literally doesn't care, you don't have to cite them. But most artists will have, and they should, like depending on like your platform, specifically what the guidelines are. Because you're in education, you can kind of get away with almost anything, to be honest. Typically, you're not going to see any copyright content folks come after you, but it is definitely possible. So I would always say your first step is to check the resources that you're using, the person who posted them, wherever you got them from, and see if they state what the licensing is on it. Typically, most people, free assets, they just want credit. And again, for school, you should always share credit, or you should always write credit for things that are not your own work. But really, that's basically where that ends. Second step would be making sure that they are properly credited as they have said they need to be. So in your credits, in your game, in your documentation, academically, you should include that somewhere in your documentation as you submit. For the showcase submission, I am not sure if they have other specific guidelines. That's a question for Ben and anyone else running the showcase.
Just in specifically about whether or not you can use third-party assets?
Yeah. And like, do you just expect them to say these things are credited to these people where we got the assets from?
I mean, ideally, if you're submitting for a category like game feel or aesthetics, and you're saying, hey, here's all of like the visuals that make it great, you would at least mention somewhere that you are using third-party assets, but then implementing them in whatever way. So you're not just passing off somebody's work as your own. But again, a lot of that comes down to the licensing of the material anyways. A lot of it, if it's by attribution, you're going to be mentioning that anyways. But if you're submitting for a certain category and you're using third-party assets or plugins and stuff like that, make sure at least you make a note of that. So then you don't get in trouble later on, I guess. When in doubt, cover your bases.
Yeah, but essentially this answer kind of remains the same. The standard is to just look at what the original creator said, how they want to be attributed, and make sure that if I have actually seen, like I genuinely have seen a font on a website and the creator wrote, "You are not allowed to use this font in video games." And I was just like, what? Why? But so theoretically, you could still use that font, but they have every right to say, no, you need to take this down or I'm suing you. And yeah. Also, you shouldn't steal other people's work. That is called plagiarism, and you can get kicked out of school. Anyone have any other questions, thoughts, or anything else? Hey, I'm really glad it helped. I seriously think Itch is a cool platform, so definitely encourage you all to use it for this and other projects. Also, like, browse some of the games on there. There are some really neat titles. It's really like if you're the type of person who wants to play something different, something new, or like whatever, you can find a lot on there.
And just at the tail end too, if people are attending this, thinking about the showcase and they're still not quite sure, I just shared a link to the page on IGM's RIT page with all the info for it too. So definitely take a look. And if you have questions, my email's right in there to ask me more questions too.
Awesome. All right, well, I see people are filtering out. So to me, I think that's the cue that we're basically done, just about done. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. But I think this sounds like it's going to be goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, people, for coming. People who are still left.
Yep, thank you, everybody. Bye.